Hi guys, and welcome to my new channel. My name is Iris, and I've made this channel because I've wanted to kind of document the different Sims builds that I've been doing recently. I'm going through a phase again where I just have become obsessed with The Sims. I've been playing it since I must have been about 7 years old. I started on the first Sims. I played Sims 2, Sims 3, and obviously playing Sims 4 now. And I've always gone through phases with it, but this one's been lasting a long time, and I feel like recently I've gotten a lot better at building. I'm by no means one of the best or anything like that, I'm very far from, but I just made this channel really because I wanted to have a place where I could see all my builds and also to document my progress on how I get better, because it's something that I do really enjoy. I love doing it, and I feel like it's definitely something that you can see progress in. And so yeah, I just wanted to kind of dip my toes in and see what this YouTubing business is all about. So I'm building a pub today, and it's going to be kind of like a classic pub that you would see in England, like one of the traditional ones, your old local, as probably know it. I'm from England, and I've been to my fair share of pubs over the years. And I just got really inspired because I was actually driving up to Manchester Airport a couple of days ago to take my boyfriend because he was flying home, and you have to drive through the Peak District, which is a big like national park in the northern England, and there was so many like old traditional pubs that I passed on the way, and there's loads around where I live as well, and I've always been surrounded by them. I've seen loads of them because they're very common. But I just got really inspired, and when I got home I sat down and I just knew that I wanted to build one. So yeah, this is what I came up with. I've kind of got the shell done about now, but I do end up making some changes, I think. And right now I'm just trying to figure out what wallpaper I want to use. I wanted it to look kind of like old. I didn't want it to be kind of new or modern or anything, and I wanted it to fit in with the surrounding environment. That was a big thing that I was trying to achieve, but also I was trying to make sure that it still held those standard characteristics that you see in a pub in England. So you know, they're kind of like old buildings. They're normally like two-tone, so they have different wallpaper on the top compared to the bottom, and it ranges from being like different bricks to full wallpaper or block colours, or like I'm using this get together wallpaper on the top that you see quite commonly. And I really loved this one. I did flick through all the other different ones on get together, but some of them just seemed either too busy or not busy enough, and so I liked this one because it had the little detail on the bottom, but then it also had the plain blocks at the top, if that makes sense, and it just made it really nice to fit windows into there, because I find like when you have busy wallpapers, it's kind of really difficult to fit windows in and make it look normal and like it kind of belongs. But I was able to do it with this wallpaper, thankfully. And here I just put a roof trim on because I knew I wanted a roof trim, but I didn't want to use the white ones that I normally use on like family house builds, because that's not typically something that you see. I just wanted to use one because it helps kind of round out the roofs a bit, but I didn't want a stark contrast to the actual colour of the roofs. And now I wanted a not a rooftop trim, like a platform trim around the first floor to the second floor. And so then I was just putting kind of platforms across all the roofs so I could get that extra platform around it. And I had to, because obviously it gets rid of all the walls for some reason, so I had to rebuild that like once or twice, but I sorted it out. It was a bit finicky, but got there in the end. Yeah, now I'm just making sure that everything matches. And for some reason, when I was trying to find the get together wallpaper again, I couldn't find it. It just disappeared from my gallery, so that was fun. Don't know why that happened, but we love The Sims and its quirks. Right now I'm trying to find wallpaper for, well, the flooring even, for the for the pub. And I was struggling on this bit because I've obviously most pubs, they're not on a platform, they're normally like on ground level, like you just walk in off the street, but it looks really weird it being on the floor, so I ended up making it work with a platform. I mean, when in doubt, if it looks weird, just put it on a foundation, you know. That's always my philosophy. And I end up putting the steps in. I use the Seasons or Get Together foundation. I think it's the Get Together one. And then the steps I end up putting in, they're the cottage living ones, and I use the cottage living fence as well. I love that fence, and the railing is so cute. I'll use it in so many of my builds now. And right now I'm trying to figure out the windows, and honestly they caused me a bit of a headache. I knew I wanted the big bay windows because they're just all over pubs in England. Like they always have the big bay ones dotted around. And but I was trying to find one to put on that flat bit kind of next to like the middle bit where the double hatched window is now, because it looked a bit weird, and I wanted to use those square ones from Cottage Living because they looked really nice, the ones without the shutter, but it just didn't look right with the bay windows because the swatches were weird, so that didn't work. But I like the hatch windows anyway, they look really cute. And here I'm just trying to find a door. I do really like the what's that, spellcasters. I really like the spellcasters door, the smaller one, not the big one, but it didn't really match. And I liked the cats and dogs one as well. I liked how it had the window in, but I wanted a double door, so I end up using the Get to Work one in a slightly darker brown shade, and it actually looks really nice. Here again, I'm just messing about with the windows, and I did really like that square window, but it just didn't match. The swatch was a much lighter brown for some reason. So I put that hatched window in, and then I end up deleting it, but I do end up putting it back eventually. And then I use some snowy escape windows on the top level because, again, that tends to be a feature. There tend to be different windows on the top floor and the bottom floor because usually it's quite common to see people living above pubs. Usually it's the landlords, like the owners of the pub, they'll live above it, or it can be rented out to other people. But it is like a house built on top of a pub, and with the renovations that happen over the years and stuff, you end up getting some different designs. But I really like how the snowy escape windows look, especially with the wallpaper. So yeah. Here I'm doing the back door, and I decided I wanted to do an open door because even in like the middle of winter, the doors end up being open with people going to and from like the beer garden and the smoking area. So I thought that was quite realistic. So I do this open door trick, and I realized when I was editing the video that I didn't move the door along, so there's a big gap between the door frame and the actual door itself, which obviously is not very realistic. But before I uploaded this to the gallery, I did go and fix that, so it does look like a real door. Right now I'm trying to figure out the floor plan. So I just stuck a bunch of lights everywhere, and I knew that in this corner I wanted there to be the bar, and so I'm just cornering that off, and then I'm using the Jungle Adventures flooring. I love this wood. I use it on so many of my builds. And then I used this wallpaper, which I can't remember what pack it's from. Might be Base Game or Get Together, but don't quote me on it. I can't remember. And now I'm just sorting out the bathrooms. I really wanted them to be equal, but I realised I made the tile like one too thin, like the width of the top floor. So I'll spend some time trying to sort this out, but it's obviously not working, and then I end up just extending it, and the toilets end up being 50-50, which is fine for me. There ends up being two in each one, so 2 men's, 2 women's, and that's usually like pretty standard, to be honest. In Spoons, so Weatherspoons, which is a pub chain, really good pub chain, it's good for cheap food and cheap drinks, very popular with students. But oh, sorry if you can hear my dogs. But Spoons, they have loads of toilets, and but their toilets are also also always up massive flights of stairs. Like, if you're English or if you've been to a Spoons, you know what I'm on about. They're always like down or up at least 2 flights of stairs. It's ridiculous, and it's so hard to do when you're drunk. But anyway, now I'm sorting out the front of the pub in the beer garden. I use the cottage living fence, and then these tables I believe are base game. I know the single tables at the back, the light ones, they're from base game. But I think these picnic tables are as well. Forgive me if they're not. I'm very sorry. I'm very bad at remembering where I get stuff from. And right now I'm just doing some landscaping, so mapping out where I want to put some plants and flowers and things. I've also done the path as well, which is so annoying how you can't line it up to the edge of the lot. I always hate how landscaping looks when it goes right up to the edge, but it's not too bad because it does match the path that's in the world itself, kind of. So I didn't think it was too bad. I'm just trying to make it look more kind of lived in at the minute. So using the mud and everything, because obviously when you're walking around in a world, especially like Henford-on-Bagley, where it's like a lot of woods and things, like people don't have the neatest shoes, and especially when you go on like a hiking holiday or something. I know when I've been on holiday up in the Peak District or in the Lake District or down in Wales, you go on walking holidays and the pubs, they just pop up on random streets, so everyone walks in from wherever they've been, and so it's not like everyone only goes there when they're in the best dresses or anything like that. I mean, that's the case in cities, but in more rural pubs, it's definitely people just who've stumbled upon it without even meaning to. And now I'm just going through the debug menu, trying to find any items to just bulk up the place a bit, add some little details in. I love that wheelbarrow with the flowers in. I think it's really cute. And this sign that I found from Cats and Dogs, I think it is. I love that, especially how it's got the 2 beers in the logo. I think it's so cute, and it's so it's such a perfect match for this pub. Also find this the back bar kind of thing. I thought that was really good because I thought it looked quite plain, and I was thinking like I wanted some glasses hanging up or something like that, or like, so I was going to put some counters in, but I'm really glad I found that. And that's from the Get Together pack as well. It's actually such a good pack, the Get Together pack. I've never really used it that much, but there's actually some amazing things in it. Same with that cabinet. In pubs, there's always these random glass cabinets with like plates or something in like that. So, I also loved that sign, like kind of the welcome sign into the building. The white one at the front. Sorry, I'm so bad at explaining things. But I loved that sign as well. And I loved how it had the little logo of like the country lane leading into a place. I thought that was really fitting. And right now I'm trying to do the chimney, and oh my god, these chimneys, they gave me such a migraine. I had such a mare with them. I just couldn't sort it out. It kept like snapping out of place, and then it kept going dark, and then it kept deleting itself. So it does jump here to a different scene, but honestly it was a nightmare. And like then it's just, I put the wall trim on and it only deleted one of them for some reason. But then I ended up changing the swatch of the brick to a bit of a darker grey, and then I changed the swatch of the chimneys, and then I just left it alone because I was done faffing with it. It was honestly, I think it was literally about 10 solid minutes of recording that I was trying to sort it out because it kept deleting. I was getting so frustrated with it, but I got there in the end. Right now I'm just sorting out the front, and I'm just placing around these little details that I found. I really love this little like half wheelbarrow kind of table thing, cart. I thought it was really cute, and I just thought I'd put that near the entry because it was a nice cute little detail. And then these cabinets, I really wished that they came, so you know, kind of like, this is the only way I can think to explain it, with kitchen cabinets, when you click on the different types of cabinets, so like the end cabinet or like the corner one, how it kind of like changes what's in the shelves. I wish it did that for that cabinet, but it didn't. And I do end up changing it so there's only one against the back wall, and those two next to the stairs I end up removing them. Oh, and this was another thing that I struggled with, this bloody cake dessert stand thing. I was having such a battle with the tool mod, and honestly, it's a love-hate relationship with this mod that I have, because it's an amazing mod, definitely one of like the best and most useful ones. I use it with every single build, but I'm still fairly new to it, and so I kind of haven't got the complete hack of it, so it takes me a while sometimes. But I got there in the end after probably like another 10 minutes of battling with it. And right now I'm just picking out which tables I wanted. I wanted to definitely have some taller ones and then some smaller ones, because I feel like that's very realistic in pubs. You tend to have some tables that have like kind of higher chairs with them, and then you have the big tables for like groups of people, like families who are having the dinner. And then the single ones are like for smaller groups of friends, or like just couples having the dinner or something like that. So I thought that was very realistic. I really love these chairs as well. I thought they were really cute. And it does look very busy right now and very cramped, but I promise I do rearrange it so everyone kind of has like their own space, so you wouldn't be properly eavesdropping on everyone's conversations. But to be honest, in pubs when... Oh my god, my Siri watch just came on. Sorry if you heard that. Yeah, in pubs, like, especially say if it's like the World Cup or the Euros or something like that, just any football event, it's going to be rammed, like, and you're packed in like sardines. But it's just part of the experience, to be honest. You just get on with it. Like, it's fun. Well, it's fun when it's not filled with like guys in their 40s who just stink of beer and are being really rowdy. But when you're out with your friends, it's fun. And another thing that a lot of British pubs have is just loads of photos everywhere, especially with a lot of Weatherspoons, because a lot of them are reclaimed buildings. So there was one in my university town, city, and it was a reclaimed pub, and so a reclaimed bank even, not a pub, Jesus. And so it had all these really amazing old portraits all around the walls, and it had really high ceilings, and it was like, it's such a beautiful building. It's a shame that it got turned into a spoons, to be honest, because it's a little bit of a waste, but I mean, it was a really nice spoons. So, and I spent like most of my second year of university there. So but yeah, I'm just like rearranging them at the minute, sizing them down, trying to get most of the frames to be kind of like dark toned. Not necessarily wood, but at least like kind of dark toned. Here I'm just putting mats at the front and the back door, just as little decor. And yeah, just a lot of zooming in, faffing about, just making sure things look decent and like they would in real life. I really like this mat that I put in behind the bar. It's from Get to Work. But I think it was actually like quite accurate, because they obviously always have these like spill mats under the bars because pouring drinks, like things get spilled. So I actually really liked that mat. And now I'm just putting in lights, because I always use the saucy saucer lights, like the little small discs for my builds. But I wanted to put in proper lights, because obviously like a lot of pubs, they have like proper lights and they have like lanterns and things like that. So I wanted to put a bit more character into the build by using them. And then now I'm just doing the rubbish at the back. So yeah, just put a big dustbin. And now I'm doing the tables. I actually was really surprised that both the small tables and the chairs that I put around them, they're both from base game. I thought they were going to be from the pack, but no, I was really happy that they're from base game. And then I'm just chucking a few bins in the beer garden as well, because obviously people smoking and like any rubbish. So that's handy to have. This is where I changed them cabinets over, and I love this one that I found. It's really cute and it fits in really well. Slip a cheeky gnome in there. After all, the name of this pub is The Gnome and the Cockerel, which it says the gnome's arms at the top at the minute, but that does change. I love these lanterns from Cats and Dogs as well. I use quite a bit from like Cats and Dogs, Get to Work, Get Together, and then obviously Cottage Living. I think those were like the main 4 packs that I used. Very cute stuff. I love build it. I've never really built community lots. I think this is actually like my first community lot that I've properly sat down and built, and I really loved it. It definitely put me out of my comfort zone, but it was really fun not having like a set amount or having to stick to like certain rooms and everything, and just being able to have a bit more like creativity with it. I really enjoyed it, so I definitely want to build more, especially because I am building a save file, and so I will be doing a lot more community builds in the future, because obviously there's quite a lot that need to be renovated in the save file. And so there'll be a big mix of residential builds and community builds on my channel, hopefully, if things go well. And here I'm just sorting the toilets out. I made them pretty basic because, I mean, they tend to be basic in pubs, you know. It's a toilet that works, a sink, some soap, and a mirror. Don't need to be too fancy. I love this grandfather clock as well. I really wanted to put it downstairs, but I couldn't find any room for it, so I ended up putting it at the top of the stairs upstairs. I was going to put like some chairs or something, but I think this clock looks nice. And then I end up going back and like adding a plant as well. And I think the pictures on the wall help bulk it up a little. I really like this one that I'm just placing now. I think it looks really cool. Yeah, so that was nice to put in. And then these spider webs, honestly, they were giving me a headache as well. So many things in this build gave me a headache, but I promise I did have fun building it. Like, I promise. I know I'm whining a lot, but it was fun. So I've sat down and built this, and originally it was like 3.5 hours long, this build, because the original one was 2.5, but then I went back in yesterday morning and edited some things, and then when I was editing the video today, I noticed some little things that needed changing, like the back door, for example, and it was just like some tables and like some hedges needed rearranging. But yeah, so I managed to get it down from about 3.5 hours into half an hour, so I'm pretty proud of myself. And now I'm just putting lanterns outside. I used Outdoor Retreat and Jungle Adventure. Yeah, so the lanterns, the big ones, they're from Outdoor Retreat, and then the ones on the table, they're from Jungle Adventure. I thought they were really cute. Outdoor spaces really became a big focus for pubs during the pandemic, when we changed from being allowed like in pubs again, but we had to sit outside. So everyone was like sat outside, like people were bringing blankets with them to sit outside with. It was really funny. But it was really fun. It's like because everyone was drinking more as well to get drunk quicker, because obviously you don't feel the cold as much when you're drunk. And I promise I'm not like promoting drinking. Obviously only drink sensibly if you're old enough. Like make sure you're comfortable with it. And I mean, you can go to the pub and easily not drink and still have fun. Like I've done that before, but yeah, it was an interesting time, the pandemic. Also, I don't know why I just turned on my shaders. I think I didn't realize that I didn't have them on when I started recording, because I was messing around with the settings on OBS, because it's like the first time I've recorded. But I've turned them on now and it all looks good. So I can link down below which shaders I use. It's kindlespice's Dove, so I'll link that in the description box down below. Can you tell this is my first time? Yeah, but I love this reshade. It's so pretty. It just makes everything look so nice. The shadow's much more realistic, and it just gives it a lot more depth, so I really like that. And right now I'm just sorting out ivy, which I always love putting on builds like this. I think it just makes it look much more like loved, like, and grown into the surroundings. It makes it seem like it's been there for like a long time, which a lot of pubs have in England. So yeah, I really love doing that. And also those lanterns that I was putting in the tree. I'm sorry, I'm talking so much and I'm just not talking about what I'm doing. But those lanterns that I was putting in the big tree, I love them so much, and I'm so glad that I found them. I thought they were so cute, and it's such a nice little detail, because we really need some like fairy lights that fit. Like when you size them up, they fit across like widthways, because they're all kind of narrow, and I didn't want to put like two sets of fairy lights together. So that's why I use the lanterns on the table and the ones on the poles. But I think adding those ones into the big tree on the strings, I think that was such a nice little detail. And now I'm just doing more landscaping around the actual building rather than like on the building. So I put these hedges down and then using the tool mod again, absolute lifesaver I can't talk, to remove oh my god, to resize them and move them about a bit. And then I'm still just faffing about with the tables, making sure it looks pretty. And then checking the item list, because I didn't even actually check the requirements for this lot build until I'd like decorated the inside. So not my brightest idea, but I only had to add like, I think it's the stereo in the TV. That's like the only things that I didn't have. Because in a lot of pubs they don't have TVs. Like I know in Spoons they don't tend to have TVs or music playing, because it kind of like ruins the atmosphere. They want it to be authentic. But in a lot of pubs they also do have TVs, because obviously the football always gets played. So I didn't mind putting that in. And I used that get to work one at first because I didn't really want to put the TV in. But then after I thought about it and I realised, well, no, a lot of pubs do use the football, like they put that on and they do like deals and stuff and they have the football playing. So I put a flat screen in instead, because especially if like university students are going down or whatever, they might have like an event going on. Obviously not real life in The Sims. I don't think that's a feature, not televised games anyway, but yeah, it's just nice to have that feature in. It's like a little gameplay that makes it kind of more realistic. And now I'm adding the fence into the beer garden because I realised I didn't put an entryway. I only had an exit at the back. So I love this gate from Cottage Living. It's so cute. But I couldn't get the fence to like match up with it, which was really annoying. I wish that they would all snap to the gate. But I found these posts, so I just sized these up a bit and moved them in, and then that looks really cute. Now I'm just doing more landscaping, adding more flowers, because I realised after looking around at the world there's a hell of a lot of flowers in Henford-on-Bagley. So I had some more flowers, I had some weeds and the little mushrooms, which are so cute. I actually really love the mushrooms. They're adorable. I wish I put more down. But yeah, now I'm just putting down more weeds all around the building to make it again look more like grown in and things. So this hedge was a bit of a nightmare because it kept clipping and it had like weeds poking through the windowsill. And obviously that's not ideal. You don't want that, so I had to fix that, but that's all sorted. Oh my god, these hens, well, cockerels, I thought they were just brilliant because I'd already decided that I wanted to call the pub like the Gnome and the Cockerel, because pubs in England, like they always have really weird animal names or like royalty. So it would be like the Queen's Head or like the Frog and Parrot, things like that, the Duck and Pheasant or things. So I just thought the Gnome and Cockerel, because the gnome, obviously it's called the Gnome's Arms, Gnome's Arms? Either way, it's called that originally. And then I just like the Cockerel because, I mean, mainly because of that hedge that I'd seen, but I just thought it was quite cute. And I find this plant box, size it down, and then add the cockerel into that, because that plant box is used quite a lot in the world. It's actually, there's two of them across the street, which you can kind of see when I'm zooming in and out. I also love those big wheels that I put at the side of the building. I think they're so cool, and I love the tool mod again for being able to rotate it. And again with these buckets, it just makes it look so much more realistic, like someone's like accidentally kicked a bucket over or it's fell over and it's just not been picked up. It just makes it look so much more realistic compared to when everything's perfectly in place. Like honestly, what did we do before all these mods? Like I don't know how we used to build. So especially when I was playing like The Sims 2, like I didn't know any cheats. I think the only cheats I knew was motherload, and I think I knew to press alt to like freely rotate things, but I didn't have like BB move objects or anything like that. Oh god, what a time. And then I used these umbrellas from, again, Get Together, I'm pretty sure. And I just used the tool mod to move it down a bit so it looks like the umbrella's coming out the table, because I didn't like any of the other ones. I didn't want to use any tables that had the umbrellas built in because I wanted these picnic tables still. So I just used the tool mod to elevate them, and then I do that for all of them. It was a lot of finicking around. Pardon me. So, oh, excuse my voice going. I've never spoke this much at once. But yeah, I just used the tool mod to elevate them a bit. It took a bit of time. It was like very finicky, and now we're on to the screenshots. So I hope you guys enjoyed this build. I hope you leave a comment or subscribe. Do any of the following. I'll be very, very grateful. But also, either way, I just want to thank you all for taking the time to get to this part of the video and for listening to me ramble. I'm hoping to do about 2 uploads a week, so I'll see you soon.